Subform controls allow you to create linked table-like displays of information that are related to a main topic. We saw an example of a subform briefly in the beginning of this course, when we used the form wizard to display a list of all of the orders that included a specific product. Let's now duplicate that form manually using the subform control. We can start by going up to the Create tab and starting a new form in Design View. First, we need to link its data source. So in the Property Sheet, I'm going to go to the Data tab and go to the record source here and choose the Products table. Then we can go over here to Add Existing Fields and add in a couple of fields. I'm going to take Product ID and double click on it, and I'm going to double click on Name. Let's go ahead and make both of these a little wider. I'll select them both and then drag open the edges here a little bit. And then I'll use my arrow keys to move them up to the top of the screen. Okay, now subforms, they take up a lot of screen real estate. That makes them a perfect candidate to pair with a tab control. Let's first place a tab control into our form, and then we'll place the subform within the tabs. So I'm going to grab that tab control up here from the controls group, and I'm going to come down here and drag out a big box. Let's go ahead and rename these tabs. I'm going to select the first one, switch over to the Forms Property Sheet, and underneath the Format tab, I'm going to change the caption for the first tab to be Orders. I'll go ahead and press Enter, and that tab gets changed here. The next tab, I'm going to call that Feedback. Now we can go into these tabs and place a subform that describes the orders that are placed for whatever product's being displayed up here. And if we switch over to this tab, we'll display the feedback for the product that's being displayed up here. Let's start with the orders. I'll switch over to this tab to make it active, and then we'll go up and find the subform control. That's on the second row of mine, and it's this box right here, the box with the two rectangles on the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and select it, and then we'll come down here, and when my tabs turn black, that means I'm going to put something inside of this tab control. I'll go ahead and click, and the subform wizard starts up. This will ask me which data we want to use for a subform or subreport. We can choose from an existing form if we'd like, or we can pull related records out of an existing table or query. Let's go ahead and choose that option and say Next. What I want to do is see the orders that were placed for a specific product. So I'm going to come up here to this dropdown and choose from the table Orders. We're going to add in the order ID, the order date, and the product ID, or the product that was ordered. I also want to find out information about who placed the order. So I can come back up here and choose from the Customers table, the customer's first name and last name, and we'll add those all to these selected fields over here. Let's go ahead and say Next. On this screen, the wizard wants to know how we want to define which fields link our main form to the subform that we're creating. Essentially, what's the relationship between the items that are up here in the form and the items that are in the subform? In this case, it's correctly identified that we're going to show orders for each record in the products table using that related product ID field here. Let's go ahead and say Next. Finally, we can give it a name here. It says Order Subform, and that's fine. Go ahead and say Finish. When the wizard completes, we get this new form here inside of our tab. It has a label here, and we don't actually need this because we actually have named the tab here Order, so I don't need this label that says Order Subform. So I'm going to go ahead and select it and press Delete. And then we can select the subform here and move it into position inside of the tab. So use my arrow keys to move it up, and then I'll drag down on the bottom here. Now you might have also noticed that it actually got saved over here in the navigation pane. So the Orders subform is actually a standalone form here that's embedded inside of this form here. Now let's add one more into our Feedback tab. I'll select that one here, go up to the Design tab, go down to the bottom, and we'll choose the Subform object. Once again, I'll click inside of this tab, and this time we're going to link to an existing table or query, so I'll go ahead and say Next, but we want to pull out information about the customer's feedback. So we'll go to the Feedback table. In this case, I want all the fields over from the Available side to Selected, so instead of selecting each one individually, I can use this button here. That'll add everything over to Selected, and I can press Next. Once again, it's correctly identified that we're showing feedback for each record in the Products table by using that related Product ID field. So we can go ahead and say Next. And again, we'll accept this default name and just say Finish. Now, once again, we have the tab named Feedback and a label saying Feedback Subform. So it's a little redundant. I'll select it and just press Delete. Then I can select the subform itself, and you nudge it into position using the arrow keys. Okay, let's go ahead and view the results. I'll change my form into Form View, and we can go through our different products here. Now, we have two different record selectors. It looks like we have one down here, and then one up here in the subform. This record selector down here on the bottom controls the records for the main part of the form, which include this product ID and name out here. If I scroll through these items, we're scrolling through the different products in our product catalog. Inside of our Orders tab, we have this field here for the orders that are placed for that specific product. So as I go to a different product, for instance, this K-Eco 180, I can see the different orders that were placed for that specific product. And you can see that I have a total of 38. I can scroll through those different records if I'd like to inside of this form. If I go to a different product, for instance, this 18-volt lithium-ion solar backup battery, we can see that we have 49 orders for that product. If we want, we can switch over to the Feedback tab and see if we have any feedback for each of these products. Now, we don't have any feedback for this item here, but if I scroll through, I'm sure I can find another product that we do have feedback on. For instance, number 17, this K-Eco 250X. So the subform object brings in yet another way to view your content, by displaying information that is related to a single record. Pairing the subform with a tab control allowed us to keep related information together in one space-efficient location, so that's easy to get to.